3. Good evening. With it being 6:04 on Tuesday, July 21st, I'd like to call the order of the Webster School Committee meeting. We start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is the approval of the June 22nd, 2026 minutes. Based upon the fact that 2 of our members here were not present at that meeting, we're going to skip over that until the next meeting. We'll go slightly out of order here. We'll take under new business item C, approval of the senior class out-of-state field trip to Brownstone Adventure Park in Portland, Connecticut.
So this year we changed up and did not do High Meadows for our senior trip, and switched to Brownstone. These students did have a lot of fun. The weather did not cooperate, but students made the comment that they would love to go back on a hot sunny day. So based upon that feedback, we are moving forward with Brownstone again this school year. To change up our schedule a little bit, to kick off our senior events, we are looking to do Brownstone on Friday, May 28th. So that'll be the same day as our overnight, so they'll do the field trip right into the overnight. Same adventure, sports adventure pass, zip lining, the swimming, obstacle course. The meal was included, but they can also bring snacks with them. The goal would be to leave by 8:30 a.m. to arrive for the 10 a.m. opening of the park, leave by 4 p.m. And return to school by 5:36 p.m. So that students can depart, go home, shower, get ready for the overnight, come back for 10 p.m. for the overnight. Those would be at no cost to the students. All funding will be through fundraising, including the bus.
Any questions or comments from the committee?
Through the chair.
Yes.
I just want to thank you again. We see you time and time again, bringing all these fun events for the students. So it's great that they had fun, and hopefully next year's group has just as much.
I hope so.
Any other comments? Anything from you guys? No?
No.
Do I have a motion to approve the senior class out-of-state field trip to Brownstone Adventure Park in Portland, Connecticut?
So
Second.
A motion and a second. Can you call the committee, please?
Member Adamopoulos?
Yes,
Member Millen?
yes,
Member Scarrico?
Yes.
motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item will be the superintendent's report. Good evening, Ms. Pringle.
Good evening, everyone. I will start this evening with my personnel updates. I'm happy to say that we have no retirements at this time, and we have had a few new hires over the past couple of weeks. We hired a second shift custodian at Bartlett High School. We have actually hired 2 speech assistants. One of them was just the other day. We didn't get on there, but Laura Ladino, who was an SLPA at Park Ave, and then Barbara Smallers, who was also an SLPA at Park Ave. So Barbara has worked in the district before and is going back to her roots when she was hired as an SLPA. In addition to that, we have hired an ABA at Park Ave, Jocelyn Van Minos, and an ABA at Webster Middle School at Brianna McKay. So we'd like to welcome them. We've also been continuing to hire, so we'll be bringing some new hires. We have meetings set up at the next meeting. So I'm happy to say that we are receiving applicants and getting people in the doors, and we welcome that. We have no additional resignations at this time. We have a couple transfers. Joni Barrick, she is specialized reading teacher at Park Ave and Webster Middle School. She was an academic interventionist, and now she's going to Wilson Reading. I told you about Barbara Smallers. We have Alexandra Maldonado, who is transferring to Park Ave from Webster Middle School. She was a paraprofessional. And we have Luzita Palmerino, who was an ABA, I believe, ABA or para at Park Ave, who was recently hired as an L teacher at Webster Middle School. She's gone back to school, gotten her degree. So we are excited to see that growth and happy to have everybody on board. Are there any questions? That's for you, Miles? No? Great. Moving on, under instructional updates, on Wednesday, July 8th and Monday, July 13th, we had our full district leadership team which consists all of our administrators, all of our deans, assistant principals and central office. We attended our summer summit. That's a tongue twister, our summer summit. We used this time to prepare for the upcoming school year and connect as a team. It's a great opportunity to sit. We go to Nichols College, out of the campus. We have time to go over, we made time to go over our school improvement plans. We made time to go over our support plans. We've spent a lot of time working on discipline, what we need to improve on in the upcoming year. We also had some presentations about, from SPED strategies, looking at our compliance reports and what we can do to improve on them. We also had, some reports, trainings on Power School, Special Ed Power School, on how to run reports and get information, helpful information for the school principals and things like that. We actually started talking about budget already. We're in July, but we started talking early about what that's gonna look like in the upcoming year as we look to make some changes in the process a little bit. So we're doing that. It was a wonderful time to really align ourselves and get our heads into what we need to do to get ready for the new year. I think the administrators and central office appreciated the time to collaborate and work. And we left there feeling like it's clear, we know what we need to do to go back to our group, back to our buildings to prepare for the school year for opening day. The next big day that we have coming up is August 19th. This is another full day that we use Nichols College, for our leadership, but it also includes our instructional leadership team, our ILTs from the schools. And this year we're expanding it to some of our department heads also. We're trying to really make sure that the messaging as we prepare for the upcoming school year, we want to make sure that everybody's hearing the same thing and that the message is clear and we're all going in with a clear vision of what we're doing. You know, we've tried to get a lot of voice on a strategic plan. We've tried to get voice on our school improvement plans. But as we go into the school year, it's so important that the expectations and the work that we're going to be doing are all on the same page because they're all intertwined. So that's our hope. That date will be August 19th. We'll be working on that. And I'm confident that we're gonna be ready to hit the ground running for the opening of school. Are there any questions about that at work? No. Moving on, we have finished 2 weeks of our summer school programming, we started our 3rd week this year, so that means we're halfway. As you know, we do it over 5 days, over 4 weeks, the whole month of July. Our summer food program will run a little bit longer, but programming seems to be going very well across the district. We are actively seeing students in our section of the building, and then we have some programs going on in the other buildings, so that's going well. And then recently at one of our prior meetings, I talked about the 21st Century Grant, the exemplar grant. We have been waiting, Dr. Patty McKay and Lois Taylor, our out of school coordinator, have been working really hard preparing and getting ready to apply. They were ready at the end of June to apply and it's kept getting postponed and postponed for weeks. I'm happy to say that was this week. Was it this week or at the end of last week? It was this week, right?
End of last week.
End of last week. We submitted it this week, that it finally opened up through DESE, so it's about a month behind. But this grant will give us close to $200,000. We're hoping, fingers crossed, that we receive this grant. The last time we did apply for the exemplar grant was, I think, in 2000 or 2001, and we did not receive it at that time. So if we don't receive it, that means we have a year of without 21st Century that we would have to reapply next year for the grant. So, I mean, there was a lot of research done. There were meetings with the 21st Century people to say what was lacking in our last application that we could improve on, what kind of data could we include, and just to really help us, you know, do a better job at writing the grant, making sure we're checking all the boxes that we need to best support the students at our elementary school. So I want to give a shout out to Lois Taylor and Patty McKay for their work on this. I know they've been working super hard. And we're very hopeful, that we will get the exemplar and, look forward to covering the school year. Are there any questions on that? No. Last week, I went to the superintendent's conference down the Cape. It was a great opportunity to not only collaborate with my colleagues, but hear what's going on across the state and across the federal government. And there's also many opportunities to sit in sessions and learn new items and take some things back. We did receive some news while we were at the Cape, and I think you may have heard it online. Governor Haley had put forward a bill to provide extra funding to school districts across Massachusetts. It's $100 million reserve for K-12 school districts funded by the fair share surtax, so the millionaire's tax. Under the proposal, every school district in Massachusetts would receive funding from the reserve, which is determined on our enrollment. So what that means for us is the enrollment data is based on October 1st, 2025. So there's two different enrollment numbers. We have our October 1 enrollment, and then we have our foundation enrollment, which is based from the October enrollment. So I'm not sure if they're looking at the foundation or at the October 1. But we could get anywhere between 190,000 to 215,000 should this pass, coming in additional one-time revenue for Webster. Actually, I just missed this. Each school based on its share of foundation enrollment. So there you go, it's foundation. So that would be the larger amount. That would be around 215,000. Again, it's one-time revenue and non-reoccurring. It's not counted towards your base aid in 28. So, that means when, it's one time, they're not gonna heighten our level and count that for 28. This appropriation is available through June 30th, 2027. The intent of this money is to, help schools with either curriculum or loss of staff due to budget cuts, and things like that. Again, we're very cautious. We haven't really sat down as a team to talk about what this means for us and what we would apply it to. But I think it's really important to note that it's not something that we can count on. So I would hate to bring in and hire staff to turn around and say, we're gonna let you go, because that also has a negative impact on our district when you look at paying unemployment and things like that down the road. But we're excited about this bill. It is expected to go through, so fingers crossed that we hear some good news soon, that we'll be getting some additional monies to help us in Webster. Especially, there are things, like I said, that are on our radar. We don't know about this grant. We still don't know about our Title I grant. There are things we just don't know yet. We've been waiting to hear about a Title I. It hasn't been released yet. We did get word from special ed that grant is open, but there are some concerns at the federal level that we've heard that there could be things not opening until December. It's just, there's a lot of, sureness right now as to what we're gonna get, when we're gonna get it. So it's kind of a wait and see. Are there any questions about that?
So is that money for fiscal year 27 or fiscal year 28?
This year, they said it was gonna be for
Okay.
this year. Yeah. Yep. Are there any other questions?
Sorry.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I guess just a comment, but you've already said it. We have to be very careful with that money, because it can't be for something that we can't sustain.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's the difficult part.
Mm-hmm.
People see, oh boy, because I've seen it on the news, and
Yeah.
I went, that's good, but it's one shot.
It's a Band-Aid, right?
It's a
It gets you a
Band-Aid.
few months, but it's not sustainable. And it's gonna put districts back in the same spot that they're in this year. Unless they have some magic plan, you know, at the state level that's gonna help with chapter 70 funding down the road, but again, you know, we're not hearing that. You know, now that the Student Opportunity Act is done, we don't know what that means for chapter 70 going forward. We know there's a commission to look at it, but what does that mean for us? We don't know. And so much is based on enrollment. And where we're seeing that decline, I mean, we were fortunate that we benefited from a small increase in enrollment, but I mean, it's down of what, 16,000 across the state, I believe is the number. That it's just, I don't know how, you know, we can't guarantee that our enrollments, we want it to grow, but we don't know that it's gonna. So that's an area that we have to pay close attention to. We have to pay attention to our enrollment to see what's happening during the year.
It's gonna be a difficult decision because
Absolutely.
you can't bring something back, like you said, to have it be gone again
Mhm.
by the end of the year.
Right. And then lastly, we have been getting an extreme number of public requests across, the past 2 to 3 weeks. Every day I'm getting at least, I would say 2 to 3 to 4 public records requests from companies looking for contracts, looking for purchase orders. Do you work with these 5 vendors? If you do, I want all of the contracts, POs, checks, anything that you've done over the past 3 years. So I've reached out to our attorney, just to see, what we can do, because you're only supposed to get so many requests a day from certain people. But what's happening with these companies is you can get 3 different requests from 3 different names, but all from the same company. And it's just physically impossible to do the work to get the information that they have. So I'm working at a response for them. You know, certain public records, we have to comply with public records requests. But, we're looking at how long is the information easily accessible? You know, how long is it gonna take? I'm gonna have to be reaching out and putting a dollar amount to it to say it's gonna take us X amount of dollars. We're gonna be charging for this and it's gonna take time, because there's no way we're not gonna meet all the requests. I can tell you that right now. I'm not gonna meet them. It's just impossible. So, and it's not just us, it's happening across Massachusetts. This company's reaching out. It was on the listserv. People everywhere are getting requests. And they're all struggling to try and deal with them.
So I would just say that it is important we talk to legal.
Yeah.
Because if it is a coordinated effort like this, they clearly know what they're going to appeal to the Secretary of State. We're gonna get a findings letter.
Yep.
So it'd be good if we can bring legal in now so that we can be prepared for that, because the Secretary of State already has, and they've probably done so in districts, so
Yeah.
they know what to ask for, what they're gonna expect back from the Secretary of State's office, and what we're gonna be obligated to give them.
Yep. Yeah, so I did reach out to legal yesterday. I heard back today. I responded back, to see what we can do. And, you know, I'll make sure that
We've satisfied some of them already.
some of
you
them
know,
we
we're
can, it's
trying
easy
to-
when we know the companies and we say, nope, haven't had them. We can
Or the
respond,
ones that
sorry.
we can pull the list together without
Yeah.
it being, you know, a substantial amount of work or massaging the data to get it in the right format that they want, because there's a lot of specifications that come with it,
And
so.
we're not required to recreate anything, like, we're not required to recreate a request, but I mean, we've had some generic ones where it's basically, we get them every year, twice a year, maybe 3 times a year, can you give me all your purchase orders, companies and this, and we can just run a quick report, it takes not even 5 minutes out of Munis and send that along, it's a quick request and it's easy, but these are asking for more information, they're asking for terms, they're asking for actual contracts, they're asking for, and with the move, you know, we have some of the information here, but it's a little harder to get at. It's gonna take more time to get at, and with the number of requests we're getting, it's gonna be difficult to get it all together. It's just gonna take time for somebody to go look it up, look through the boxes, and see what we have, to get the information, because it's not all on computer.
Are they asking for us to give it to them in a specific format back?
Sometimes, a few of them
Yeah,
have some
these are
specific like
not-
fields or things that they're looking for. These are a little different because they're looking for like supporting documentation,
The
right?
actual,
It's not like just run a list out of a computer system and get the data. These are like, where's this contract? Then you have that, so it's a little bit more
We
complicated.
have it, it's just packed away. It's gonna take time, but it's multiple requests with multiple companies. All from the same, they're asking for information on multiple companies, but it's all coming from one source. Multiple staff at one
do
source.
those come through your office or they come to the town hall?
They come to my office. Sometimes requests go to the town hall,
To the
but
town
most,
clerk, right?
sometimes, but most come to ours. If it's for school, they'll come directly to us. So I'm working with legal to see, and we'll do our best to make sure that we're in compliance as to what we can do, and also what are we required to send, what needs to be redacted, what, there are requirements around that also, so I wanna make sure that I'm not giving out something that I shouldn't be.
There's also a fee associated with that.
Yep. I think it's like $25 an hour, I think is the max that we can charge. So, and that concludes my report.
Any other questions or comments for Superintendent Crandall?
Through the chair,
Yes.
just to say. So this is an unusual situation that's happening with a lot of other people.
Yeah, it's happening across
Does
the state.
anybody look at, is there somebody that looks into the why of all that?
Yeah, they do at MASs some. I'm not sure what the angle is behind, but I do know that a lot of school districts are reaching out to their legal because they're saying, how do we,
Right,
this is a lot. So it's definitely not just us. It's some bigger branch that's looking for data. I'm not sure for what, but I know MASs will look into things and ask why, what are they looking for? What's the end game? It seems to be almost all technology stuff. They're working with a lot of online platforms and a lot of it is technology related. No,
Any other questions or comments? Thank you. Next item of business is the business manager report. Good evening, Ms.
Good
Contos.
evening, everyone. I'm gonna start with the Bartlett High School building project, give you some updates on that effort. I'll start with furniture because I love to talk about furniture. I've been talking about it for the last couple meetings, but happy to report that all of the surplus furniture has either been claimed or disposed of at this point in time. Our new furniture delivery is following a 3-week schedule, and we're about 2/3 completed of all of the deliveries. In fact, you can see some in this room behind us, not in its final destination in this room, but you have some. As we progress through this, we're having our designer, who's actually inspecting all the furniture when it comes in, to make sure that it's meeting all the specifications, that there's no damage. So we do have a remaining punch list that we're starting to create. They're very minor, but those will be tracked until all the final pieces arrive. Once all the furniture is in place, what we're going to do is Ms. Nieves will conduct a room review, because we do believe that there will be some gaps from when the original furniture design was done to where we are now in current state. So we have held back in contingency some funding for furniture to address some of those gaps. So that is a planned walkthrough that we'll do at some time in the August timeframe to identify where, hey, maybe we need a couple extra chairs in this room, we could use a table here. Those types of reviews to make sure that we fill in any gaps that exist. But things have been going very smoothly. Really happy that we're in the place that we're in. And, if you haven't had a chance, glance in the main office as you leave. The new furniture in there looks really great. Still need to place all of the filing cabinets, so you might see some file cabinets hanging out, but there's a little effort to move all of the files around. But let's talk about phase 3, because I'm really excited. I was looking at the calendar, and believe it or not, there's 4 months to completion, 5 months to move in. I can't believe that those words are coming out of my mouth. But so I'm really excited about that. So updates on where we're at. So with the roof, They're installing the metal panels at the penthouse location, and the sloped roof fascia is being installed. On the second floor, all the overhead mechanicals are being installed, the in-wall roughing, boarding and taping walls is underway. On the first floor, they're still installing some underground work, cross braces, prepping some trenching for the slab replacement on the first floor, installing overhead mechanicals as well, framing the interior walls, in-wall roughing, board, and, you know, getting some of the finish around the south soffit. So lots of activities. Second floor is a little further along than the first floor because of the slab. There's a lot more work to be done underground and getting that slab ready. Site work continues. I'm sure you've seen a big difference since the last time you were here. If you look at the bus curb or the entrance coming in. So we have a binding coat on the bus loop at this point. They're focusing now, while summer school is in session, on all of the walkways. So the walkways, when you enter the campus by the B, that go all the way around into the front of the building, as well as out to the parking lots by the tennis court. So that's gonna be the focus over the next few weeks. They will finish up at the end of the bus loop once summer school is out, and then they'll continue throughout the rest of the campus. But a lot of good progress being made outside. It's really taking shape now. It's exciting. Any questions? Okay. I'm gonna give you a few maintenance updates, some things that are going on at the school. So at Park Ave, we're in the process of replacing the rooftop antenna and duplexer that support the building's walkie-talkie system. So we're scheduling the visit out. We're just waiting on the antenna to come in. So at this time, the radios are working in what we call talk around mode, which means they don't always make it from the end of one building to the other, and you have to have someone doing a relay in between. We just got an update from the vendor, and they think the antenna will be in next week. So that should get replaced soon. At Webster Middle School, we're working on scheduling the replacement of a circulator pump in the boiler room, repairing a leaking pipe that's used for domestic hot water, and replacing an 8-gallon expansion tank on the domestic hot water boiler. In addition to that, all of our John Deere gators across the buildings are being serviced. There's really a lot of preventative maintenance and a little bit of repair on them, but they're in good shape, and those have been picked up to be repaired. Any questions on the maintenance? Okay, let's move on to some other updates. So we've been very active. We've had 3 open custodian vacancies across the district. We had the second shift at Bartlett High School, which the superintendent mentioned we just hired. Second shift at Webster Middle School, and then the first shift district grounds position. Happy that the second shift Bartlett position has been filled. The new candidates started on last Friday. For the remaining 2 vacancies, I've been working closely with the head custodians, and we've completed all the application screening, identified candidates to advance, and the interviews are underway and have been scheduled and are almost finished. So our goal is to have both of those positions filled by the end of this month. And when I say the end of this month, offers out, getting them started, they may have a 2-week time frame before they can start. So we've made some good progress with candidates and getting those positions filled, but it's been busy with the application screening. From a fiscal year 26 year-end financial standpoint, as we close out the end of the fiscal year, the business office has been very busy with completing several critical year-end processes to make sure that we make a smooth transition into fiscal year 27. So all outstanding invoices are being collected and processed and paid, and or funds being encumbered where services have already been received or the products have been received, but the invoices are still outstanding. Working through all our year-end journals and entries, and doing a full reconciliation of all of our grants in preparation for the formal closing of those grants in August. From a payroll standpoint, we've been completing what we do towards the end of the year, which is our lump sum payout at the end of June, working on rolling over the accruals. We also have split payrolls that end up hitting in 2 fiscal years that we have to adjust to hit them in the correct year, and then reporting on our compensated absences liabilities to the town. So these are all just critical obligations that we have to do to make sure that our financials are in a good position and accurately reflected. Any questions? Transportation for school year 27, we already have all our student lists out to AA, so that they can start looking at bus assignments and what routes those students will be on. We have asked AA to take a look at our routes that have higher rider volumes to see whether or not we can level that out a bit, without impacting the time frame that students are on the bus. The challenging part about doing that at this point in time is while we can have, and it can look like you may have 100 students around this area that are eligible to ride the bus, they all don't ride the bus, right? Some are driven to school, some drive themselves to school. So this is a real balancing act in terms of figuring out how to get this better balanced across the district. A little harder with Park Ave because it's hard to know who will specifically be taking the bus and which ones will be doing drop off. We do have 2 bus routes that are close to capacity, but it's hard to tell whether or not they will really be there or not and how much adjusting we can do. So we're actively having conversations about that at this time. Any questions about that? Food services, the district, as you know, has been participating again this year in the Summer Eats program, offering free lunches to kids and teens throughout the summer of 2026. Meals are available at 2 locations. It's at the public library. That's from July 7th until August 14th. And at Park Ave, it's from July 7th until July 31st. And I want to really give a big shout out to the food services team, because in addition to making the daily meals, they try to plan theme activities to make it fun for the students. So for example, during this week, students can do rock painting, sea animal magnets. They got tropical sun catchers and some stickers and some coloring pages. So they try to balance the delivery of nutritious meals with some fun activities for the students and young children that show up. So kudos to that
They
entire
have the
team.
best attitudes. They really work hard and they have the best attitudes out of everybody. They show up every day, happy to do their job, looking forward to do their job, and I just appreciate all of them so much. So I think that's important.
It is. So we're also working on our DESI data reporting that's required. There's 4 sets of data. There's our student information, our staff information, or our educator personnel information, our student schedule, as well as our school safety and discipline reports. So those are 4 data sets that we actually have to prepare and certify for submission into the state. We've already submitted our student information. That's all been certified. We're working on the other 3 data subsets. Those are not due until August 14th, but we're actually targeting to get that in as early as July 24th. So I want to really thank Stacy Quilty, who works very closely with all of the schools to ensure that the data that we report is accurate. The data that we report is used for so many reasons that making sure the quality is accurate is super important. As you know, it's tied to enrollment. There's so many things that it ties to. So we're really close to having that completed. And then I'd like to also just give a big shout out related to the 8th grade graduation to Father Luke from St. Constantine and Helen Church for allowing us once again to use their parking lot so that we could shuttle staff from Webster Middle School from the parking lot to the school, so that we opened up the lot so parents could park for 8th grade graduation. And I also want to thank Al Young and our superintendent for being our shuttle drivers for the staff in the morning and the afternoon, so that they were able to open up the spots for parents and guardians who were visiting.
I'm just saying, I think that's the last time we may have to do that.
Maybe. Maybe, just maybe. I think you might be right. And then my last update is I actually just completed 2 procurement courses with the Office of the Inspector General. These are 2 of the 3 courses required for certification as a Mass Certified Public Procurement Official. So I'm just awaiting my certificate. I did the 2 courses, one in May and one in June. And I'm really relieved that that is over with. That was probably about 40 hours worth of work. But now I will be taking over the role of being the certified purchasing official in the district from the former business manager, now superintendent. So that concludes my report.
That's great news. Any questions or comments from the committee? I just want to say thank you to both of you and the administration. Obviously, it's the summertime. The school doesn't shut down. There's a lot that gets done. A lot of, from the payroll to financials, making sure everyone's coming into the next year with the same theme we're gonna go into it. So I just want to thank both of you, the principals, your staffs for coming in and doing it over the summer time. Next item of business under old business is the monthly report on fundraising applications. Looks like we have a lot of things that these schools are doing this year. I know the drama club's doing the temporary tattoos and the face painting. Looks like class of 2027 is doing homecoming dance tickets, baked goods, and a yard sign fundraiser. Class of 28 is doing pies. And class of 2030 is doing the craft fair, food space, coffee sales, and sales of dried soups, dips, and seasonal blends. So it's good to see that there's a lot going on to raise money for these clubs and these classes. The next item is under new business, the approval of the employee handbook.
Thank you. So in your packet, you should have a copy of the new handbook. I will go through and just point out some of the changes. There wasn't a lot of huge changes this year, but I will skip through them. As you can see, we had to change the year. We updated the index on page 2. We updated our mission statement with our new strategic plan. We had our vision and our mission. We updated that. We copied in, as you know, a lot of the work we did this year with policies and stuff. We copied in the policies and updated that to make sure everything is being carried over. So we updated our mission, our non-discrimination statements on page 5 and 6. We've just updated the staff. We'll continue to do that as we hire and get people on board. 6 was just updating names and titles. On page 7, it says added 1 employee classification and removed 1. We had ABA therapists listed twice. It was duplicated in there, so we removed 1 of them because we don't have 2 classifications. So we kept that there once, and then we also added BCBA therapists. I think that was the error. I think they needed to be added there, so we did that. We updated on page 8. And 11, we updated the name and title of the person. Courtney Freeland from the town is no longer doing the health insurance. That's being managed by Tina Landry, so we made that change to the handbook. On page 14, we updated Sherry's name in there and her title, a Director of Student Support Services. We also added sorry language. We noticed that that was not listed, and we've been doing that for a couple of years now. So we've added that under volunteers and chaperones. And then what we did on this handbook is we've taken all the updated bully language that we had, and we put that whole copy in here. So that way, it was like bits and pieces of the bullying language, and I just wanted it to be clearer. So we just copied that from our policy that we have and put that in there. And then what you'll see as a theme from this is what I highlighted in this one. We put the policy, what the actual policy name or letters are right next to it. They used to be a little footnote that was, I think, in 3 font down the bottom, that would reference some of them. And it was just really, to me, hard to follow. You're looking, what policy is that? You couldn't read the bottom or see the bottom. So what we did is we've just noted the policy up by, so it's clear. So if somebody's looking at the handbook and they see something, they can easily find the policy, because now you can go to our website and just easily look up a policy. So we did that throughout the handbook to make it more accessible. And that's what it means by updated policy titles. We added the policy name, letters representative to each name. And then again, on page 43, we actually updated that language in our policy, so we had to remove some language in here. So we did that. Other than that, it was mostly policy changes in the handbook, policies and titles.
Thank you. Any questions or comments concerning the employee handbook? Are you looking for a vote?
Yes, please.
Do I have a motion to approve the changes to the employee handbook?
So
Second.
A motion and second. Will you please poll the committee?
Member Adamopoulos,
Yes,
Member Millet,
yes,
Member Scarriga.
Yes.
thank you. Next item is the approval of the substitute handbook.
So in this handbook, there were just a few changes. We've tried to update some of our rates just to try and be a little more competitive. So the first change is just updating the titles on page 3. To match what we have in the district, and then the recommendation is changing, right now it's $115 for a teacher sub rate, changing that, increasing it by $15 up to $130. Changing the long-term sub rate, from $145 to $160, and that's for somebody who holds a bachelor's degree. And from $120 to $135 if somebody has an associate's degree. We're also recommending a change in the daily nurse rate from $175 to $225. You see that's a bigger jump. That's just, we haven't gone up on that, and other districts are very competitive with that. They're typically in the 200s for that range. And then we're recommending a change in the daily paraprofessional, an ABA rate from they got paid $100 a day to $115. And then, one thing that's not on there on page 8, we copied in the non-discrimination language. That was updated. We put that same language in that's in the employee handbook, so they match. And those are all the changes we made.
Any questions or comments concerning the substitute handbook?
For the chair.
Yes.
So when we get subs, or we have like our pool of subs, say I'm a new sub.
Mhm.
If I get, hired or I'm potentially available to be a sub, I get the handbook and like, how do I get the handbook? Is it given to me once I'm hired as a sub?
Yes. Yes.
And it's also posted online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cause I feel like when I was like subbed in college, right, like, I don't know, there was a handbook, but you need to look at, so just.
We have a copy and they sign it.
Yeah, they
Okay.
receive a copy and sign it, and we're also looking at, as you know, we went online with our mandatory trainings last year. It's called Linux now, I believe, right? Is that what it's called?
Mark said like.
Yeah, they changed names, I think. And it's really great training. I mean, before I used to get a PDF and just kind of scroll through the PDF, through the slideshow and then click on it. These are actual videos that you have to watch, and they've done a really nice job. And some of them are maybe only 3 minutes long, some of them are 10 or 15 minutes long, depending. And there's a wide range. They're also offering a substitute one now for onboarding. So we're looking at, I haven't finished watching it yet, but it's great to talk about what to expect as a sub, what would you do? So we're looking at, including that in our training for subs, also to give them a little bit more when they come in. Whoever created this program did a fantastic job, and we are looking to utilize everything they have to offer. And we do our coaches training through there now.
Athletic coaches, they're now offering, instead of having the custodians take the same mandatory training that the teachers do, they have one specific for the facilities management as well, so it's very tailored to what they do. They're also offering a cybersecurity course as well, which is, great to really just educate people about phishing attempts, all the different things and the bad actors that we have out there. They also have one for the multifunction school activity bus to train on that. We've been looking for a long time for a solution for that so that we didn't have to be using, making our own videos. So we're really happy with the roundabout, and it's really inexpensive.
And it helps us in the long run. It really
We can track
protects us.
things.
We can track, it's better mechanism. We've always tracked who fills what out. But these systems, it's just that the data is much clearer when you watch. They're more engaging, they're better. People are actually hearing and getting information, so.
We get the infographics from them. We could actually share if you want to see.
Yeah,
They look
I
like they're
think that
really
would be
good. They'll
great.
take they actually, out of each of the training course, they have like infographics that you can hang up somewhere to kind of be a reminder. Like they're extending the mandatory training this year to talk about boundaries and how to manage boundaries. So we think that's a really, good topic that they're adding. So they're always enhancing the courses.
I'll print some out and put them in a packet for you next time, so you can see what it's like.
Yeah.
That was a good idea.
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion to approve the substitute handbook.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Can you please pull the committee?
Member Adamopoulos?
Yes,
Member Miller?
Yes,
Member Scarpelli?
Yes.
thank you. The next item is the approval of the float nurse assistant job description.
Okay. So in your packet, you should have hopefully a copy of the job description, and you can see in red what's been added and struck out and changed. This was worked on with the school nurses and the Director of Student Support Services. You can see the changes. We're looking to make some adjustments. We found that now we're actually with coverage. And we have some nurse assistants who also travel outside of the district to support students on buses when they're going to their out of schools, that we need the flexibility a little bit more. If we have to pull one, should one be absent and what's going on, so we've updated that. So covers health office or other nursing job assignments, including transportation in the case of a nursing absent. So we have a nurse who's designated to be the one who travels. If she calls in sick, then putting somebody else in-house with that nurse, making that clear. Also demonstrate the flexibility to work across the district. We have nurse assistants, some buildings, you know, if somebody's out, we might pull somebody to cover if they only have one, because we've only had 1.5. So there's been times where we've had no coverage to be able to pull from a building and say, I need you here. And just really just updating it to make it cohesive with the work that we actually need to be done. So I'm happy, and I want to thank the nurses for their input on this, because they were essential in helping, and the ones that brought it to us saying, you really need to expand this and make this more usable, because it's not right now. So I want to thank them. So I'm looking for your approval on the job description.
Any questions or comments?
through the chair.
Yes.
I just have my little picky English.
Oh, which one?
The very last, it says carries out other related duties and responsibilities
at the
at the request of any and all district administrators. I mean,
It is a
so
quest.
you want request,
Yes.
but
Yes, thank you.
I just thought I'd bring it up since you're gonna
No.
print it.
Yeah, thank you. You read these things sometimes, so many times, you just,
You probably see it.
yeah, and it's not an
Yeah,
error, because
but
it
it's
is a
not
quest,
there.
it's a word, so, yeah. Perfect, thank you.
Other questions or comments? We have a motion to approve the float nurse assistant job description with that change to that last bullet point.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Please pull the committee.
Member Adamopoulos?
Yes,
Member Miller?
Yes,
Member Scarpelli?
Yes.
thank you. Next item is review, transfers, signing of warrants, bills, payroll, and vouchers. Looks like we have an approval of a transfer request in the amount of $21,720.57 from the Bartlett High School Student Activities Savings Account to the checking account. Anything about that?
No,
Need a vote
it's
on
a
that?
typical request, it's been reviewed, so we would just look for the committee's approval.
Do I have a motion to approve the transfer request in the amount of $21,720.57 from the Bartlett High School Student Activities Savings Account to the checking account?
so moved.
Second.
A motion and a second, please pull it.
Member Adamopoulos?
Yes,
Member Miller?
Yes.
Member Scarpelli?
Yes.
thank you. Last item of business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second?
Motion is second, Will you please pull the committee?
Member Ramopoulos,
Yes,
Member Millet,
Yes.
Member Scarriga.
Yes.
thank you, everybody.